This Pokemon can one-shot anything for only 2 energy. Roll the intro. What is going on, everybody? Hitmonchanning here, back again with another Pokemon trading card game deck tech. And today we are covering my favorite VMAX probably that's ever been printed, Machamp VMAX. This card came out in the Astral Radiance set that is brand new, and for 2 energy, you can do a one-shot on any Pokemon. Let me explain. Sounds a little bit weird, but it's actually super achievable thanks to Machamp VMAX's Revenge Buster attack. For 80 plus, you can do 140 more damage if your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them. Now, if my math is correct, which I'm pretty sure it is, that's 220 damage. How are we going to put damage counters on our bench Pokemon? Well, thanks to the Gapejaw Bog Stadium, of course. Whenever you put a basic Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you can put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Or, not you can, you have to, which is good for us. That allows Revenge Buster to swing for 220 damage. Now you may be thinking, Hitmonchanning, that's not a one-shot on a lot of Pokemon. Well, combine that with Choice Spell, you can do 250 damage to the Pokemon. Combine that with Grant, you can do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. That means you can do 280 damage, KOing every V-Star in the game. Now, if that's not enough for you and you want to KO VMAXs, do not worry. Radiant Hawlucha's Big Match ability allows you to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon VMAX, which brings Revenge Buster's maximum damage output to 320 damage. 320 damage for 2 energy. Now you're thinking, how are we going to get this Machamp VMAX up and running? Well, thanks to the new Gutsy Pickaxe item card, of course. You can reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a fighting energy, attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. If it's not a fighting energy, you can put it into your hand. This Gutsy Pickaxe combines itself as a draw support and as an energy acceleration card in an item card, which is really, really cool. To get one of our 8 fighting energy on top of our deck, we're going to use Orangaru's Primate Wisdom ability, which allows us to switch a card from our hand with the top card of our deck. Now this seems pretty simple here. The strategy is you have the fighting energy in your hand, as well as the Gutsy Pickaxe. You can put the fighting energy on top of your deck thanks to Primate Wisdom, and then go ahead and use the Gutsy Pickaxe to attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. We also have 3 copies of Trekking Shoes, which allow us to look at the top card of our deck and put the card into your hand if we choose. But if we don't want to, we can discard that card and draw a card. That's good to get cards like Grant into our discard pile, which allow us to discard 2 cards from our hand and put Grant back in, allowing us to infinitely recycle Grant as many times as we want. Other than that, the list is pretty basic. We have 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball to look at our prize cards and put a basic Pokemon there into our hand. We also run 1/1 Hisuian Decidueye and Hisuian Decidueye VSTAR for the Star of Fortune ability, which allows us to fill our hand to 8 cards at any point during the game. We also run 1 Poochyena and 1 Mightyena in this deck, which with the Hustle Bark ability allows us to do 160 damage to any VMAX Pokemon. If you're versing Mew VMAX, that is going to be 320 damage, instantly knocking it out for free. This deck is so much fun to play. It can cover its bases and it can do crazy damage to your opponent. So we're going to hop into some games and hopefully show off Machamp VMAX in all of its glory. We get the coin flip and we're going to call it Tails, which makes our opponent go first. Or they can choose to go first, whatever. I mean, they are. It's all the same. We're playing our Orangaru as the active here. We have a very, very, very powerful hand to start. It does depend what we draw though, but we can Gapejaw Bog and put our Machamp V down. My opponent is playing Regieleki, which means it looks like they must be playing the Regigigas Toolbox deck, which they are going to get a crazy setup here with Regigigas and Regirock in hand, with Stormy Mountains letting them get Regidrago, which means they just need Registeel and Regice before they can start doing huge damage. This is a tough matchup for Machamp because they can actually one-shot us super easily with Regigigas's Gigaton Break here. But they don't get anything else set up, which is our prime time to strike. We're going to just take a look through the deck with Stormy Mountains, see what's here. Poochyena, Mightyena not used. Crobat and Lumineon are used. We only have one Machamp V in the deck, which makes it count, but we have no Decidueye either. It's going to be a bit tough for us to go through. We're going to have to Gape Jaw Bog, first and foremost. We're going to go ahead and Trekking Shoes, discard this Fighting Energy, get ourselves a Capture Energy. Now, Ultra Balling away, these 2 energy is going to hurt quite a bit, but we need to get our Machamp V down onto the bench. It's super important. We're going to go ahead and Capture Energy to get something else there, which might just have to be the Hisuian Decidueye. Now, we gotta go ahead and Prof's Research away this Machamp VMAX, but that's okay, because we can attach this. We're gonna Trekking Shoes, get rid of the boss, and draw it into our Radiant Hawlucha. We'll drop it down to put more damage onto the bench, while also using our Ordinary Rod to get our Machamp VMAX, as well as 2 Fighting Energy back into the deck. Now, the reason I did this is because I want to actually Ultra Ball to get rid of these 2 and get ourselves Crobat V, putting more damage on our bench, but letting us draw 5 cards. And now we have a pretty good hand for our next turn, of course. The boss in hand is actually great because we can pull up their Regigigas, but we're actually just going to end our turn here. Like I said, this is going to be a tough matchup. My opponent attaching another Speed Lightning, letting them draw through more cards to get their Regice and get their Registeel, maybe. The Regigigas deck is something that's really fun to play, and I will definitely be making a video on it on the future. Choice Spell going on the Regigigas, combined with the Zinnia's Resolve, getting a boss and a Research in the discard, but they have no special energy in the discard. Going for a Trekking Shoes, they might be able to, but we will have to see. Going for the Hisuian Heavy Ball, which will get them another Regieleki, but no Registeel is in the prizes, which they still have to dig for. Quick Ball lets them do that. My opponent gets the full Regieleki treatment here, going for a Terra Spark, letting them do 120, KOing our Rangaroo, and putting 40 on our bench in any way they like. Now we're gonna have to go into our Machamp V here. Getting an energy is well, kind of expected, but we can boss up the Regigigas, kind of maybe putting them in a stalemate here, because our Revenge Buster is going to hit it for weakness, doing a solid 200 damage. That's what we're gonna have to do, bringing that up, and Revenge Bustering their Regigigas, taking 1 prize, which is our Hisuian Decidueye VSTAR, which is something that's super important in this matchup. My opponent bringing up Regidrago is going to need to get a Regigigas plus Scoop Up Net combo in order to do damage, but they're going to need a Twin Energy attachment plus 3 special energy in the discard in order to have the Regigigas be effective. They don't need a whole lot to KO here, they just need some energy, but they're going to scoop up the Regice and scoop up the Registeel to put those back down damage free. The good thing about Regieleki is it cannot take out our Machamp V, but if they don't have an out to a Regigigas, we are going to be able to continuously beat down our opponent's Pokemon. Attaching the double colorless energy to the Regice, looks like they might be going for a Blizzard Bind combo to maybe, just maybe, get us stuck in... Whoa, they don't even have it, which is great for us, dropping the Hisuian Decidueye, Gape Jaw Bog combo. And I think I'm going to attach to our Machamp V, getting the VMAX out, while getting rid of the Mightyena. We're just going to leave this and go for the Professor's Research. Getting a Gutsy Pickaxe is actually very good for us, because we can get a switch into hand. I mean, we don't need it, but it's still nice to have. We'll take the Gutsy Pickaxe, and then we'll draw 1 more card. Quick Ball is good enough. We're just going to go ahead and Ultra Ball these 2 cards away, getting ourselves our big boy Machamp VMAX. And now this is where the fun begins. We can attach our Air Balloon and Star of Fortune to fill our hand to 8 cards, getting a Choice Belt, which, hey, we don't really need those, but we can kind of just let them chill in the hand and go for G-Max Chi Strike, or go for Revenge Buster, because it's good to save the G-Max Chi Strike in case they knock out some of our benched Pokemon. Now they're going for the Regieleki, which, hey, no Regigigas, no Regidrago. They're going to need a lot in order to pull this off. They actually do have both, but lucky for us, we have Lumineon, which lets us search for our boss's orders as we've only played 2. But they're going to Ancient Wisdom to the Regieleki, which, hey, I'm not going to complain about considering they can't knock us out, but they're going to kind of set themselves up here for a really big knockout. Luckily for us, Lumineon V to the rescue. I just hope we have the other boss, which we do. We're going to be able to boss's orders up Regigigas, while also using Gutsy Pickaxe to get a fighting energy onto our Hisuian Decidueye V. We might as well attach, and we can go for the Revenge Buster, taking out Regigigas, putting ourselves pretty ahead of our opponent here. They're going to need a lot in order to slow us down. Luckily for us, Somersault Feathers can KO any of their Pokemon without using the additional effect. Now, if they are able to get their Regidrago set up here, they will be able to knock out our Machamp VMAX, which it looks like they might be able to, but my opponent's going to need to get some Aurora energy into the discard, provided they only have 2 energy. It's very possible here, going for the Bruno, they can get Aurora energies and Ultra Balls, which looks like they actually might have, getting both Aurora energy and the Ultra Ball into their hand, which does allow them to knock out our Regidrago, or our Machamp VMAX, essentially putting them ahead of us in the game. This is going to be a tough match for us now, because they're going to be able to consistently do Giant Fangs and knock out our Pokemon. It really does all come down to this. Got to bring up our Hisuian Decidueye, and we need to get another Machamp out. They just need to take 2 prize cards. Their Regigigas isn't actually a threat to us at the moment, but we need to do a lot of damage really quickly in order to achieve what we need to. First off is the attachment. That's pretty straightforward. Now, I just have to debate we have to take out the Regidrago, but the best course of action is a Marnie. Limiting their hand to not a lot of cards is what we need to do. The Gutsy Pickaxe in hand is pretty beneficial, allowing us to get a Quick Ball, which can get our Grant into the discard. But we have no more basics left. It is really up to what my opponent does. We can Somersault Feathers for 160 damage, taking out the Regidrago, but this is going to be tough. If they can get us into a Blizzard Bind, we're not going to be able to do too much. Thankfully for us, Machamp VMAX comes to the rescue. We can retreat for free out of that Blizzard Bind, and hopefully be able to stall a little bit more. Getting the Regieleki set up, that must be the next target, because if they can retreat out of this Regieleki, or Regi-Ice, into the Regieleki, they can actually set up our Crobat V for being knocked out right after. Now, is it possible for us to win? I really am not sure, but it is going to be a super close game nonetheless. They have no other attachment, which is amazing for us, which lets us bring down Machamp and attach another energy to it. Discarding our Mightyena here, we have a Machamp and we have 2 Choice Belts. We have to keep this energy and we have to Somersault Feathers here. Now we'll see what my opponent can do. Even with a Telescopic Sight, they cannot KO our Crobat V, but it's very possible that they can get what they need here in order to hit the numbers. But they don't. We have the victory against the Regigigas Toolbox deck. That was a tough one, but Machamp VMAX did prevail, even with our terrible prizing. Calling the coin flip, we are going to go Tails Never Fails, and our opponent, unfortunately, is going to get to choose to go first, but they're letting us, which, will I say that's concerning? A little bit. We'll see what we can do here. Starting with the Machamp VMAX Hawlucha combo is good if we're playing against something like Darkrai, but we'll have to see what my opponent starts with as well. Dragon Shoes is our only draw option, so it needs to be really good here. If we can get an energy or something like that. But my opponent is playing Dialga, which is so interesting to me considering how much I love this card, which is something we all know. Get a capture energy, which is exactly what we needed. We need to go for that capture, get ourselves our Oranguru. Gonna Choice Belt, and hopefully we can Primate Wisdom into an energy or something like that. Get the Research, which is exactly what we need. We're gonna be able to knock out our opponent's Origin Form Dialga V this next turn. As long as we draw into an energy, which is absolutely crazy. My opponent does not know what's going to hit them. Going for the Adaman, discarding 2 of their metal energies, and probably grabbing, I don't know, Zacian and Bronzong or something. I don't know. I don't know what they could be playing. This build is wildly different from mine. They're actually getting the Radiant Greninja and another Dialga V here. However, going into that Metal Saucer, and that's all they're going to do. We can actually go for the Primate Wisdom with the Boss's Orders. Get Hisuian Heavy Ball. We're going to go ahead and evolve. See what our Heavy Ball gets us here. We can get Lumineon. However, we don't really need it right now. However, rotting it back into the deck might be the play. Thankfully, we get our energy. We don't need the Poochyena, but we can attach and Gutsy Pickaxe into another energy. I guess putting it on the Hawlucha. Going for the Revenge Buster, knocking out my opponent's Origin Form Dialga V. Now let's see what's in store for us. We get a Quick Ball, which means we can get him another Machamp onto the board next turn. Getting rid of that Hisuian Heavy Ball, which we know has no use for us now. My opponent's Origin Form Dialga V coming out. They need everything to work for them in order to take this knockout successfully. They need the Bronzong, they need the Dialga VSTAR, they need to get 4 energy onto it in 1 turn, which is impossible to do. Thankfully for us, we're actually going to be able to knock that VSTAR out. Thanks to our math fixing with Gapejaw Bog. As long as we get another energy, we can G-Max Chi Strike for 270, which brings the Dialga VSTAR's HP to 290. Well, it's getting hit for 290, and we can actually take them out. Or sorry, no, my math is correct. That's correct, we are straight winning. My opponent doesn't know what to do. They are completely stuck here. That's why, if you want to take a look at a Dialga VSTAR list that is incredibly consistent and you don't have any worries about not getting your attacks off, you can take a look at my list, which I will link at the end of the video. It is very strong, I think, and I probably think it's the perfect way to play Dialga VSTAR. So go ahead and check that out after this match. After I absolutely obliterate this Dialga VSTAR, they're going to get 1 attachment. They need 3 Metal Saucer in hand, plus a way to discard another energy to even hit Star Chronos, which I don't think is very possible for them. Might be grabbing a Minccino, or a Cinccino for next turn also works, but we'll see what they do for this turn. Maybe opting for a Metal Blast to only do 120 damage. It's going to be tough, but I don't think my opponent can pull it off. As long as we get the energy, we can. They have the 1 Metal Saucer in hand, putting it onto the Bronzong. If they have the evolution, they can do a bigger chunk of damage to us, but thankfully for our Gapejaw Bog, our math is fixed, and we should be able to take the knockout this coming turn. We have the Fighting Energy top deck, which is all we needed. We can Quick Ball away this Heavy Ball. It's always good to play as if you know your opponent's not going to concede. We're going to grab that Machamp, and we're going to drop him onto the bench. Primate Wisdoming up this boss's orders. As long as we can hit this knockout, which I know we can, we're going to be able to do deadly numbers on our opponent's board here. This is a great hand to have right here. Going for the G-Max Chi Strike, taking out our opponent's Dialga VSTAR in 1 hit. Taking our 2 prizes. And putting my opponent in a state where they lose next turn. If they bench a V Pokemon, they lose next turn. if they don't bunch a V Pokemon, they also lose next turn. The double boss in hand is very powerful for us here because it allows us to pick and choose what gets revenge busted by our Machamp VMAX. Nothing they can do. Like I said, if we took that Dialga VSTAR out, it was over for them, and Machamp's VMAX power rears its head with the Revenge Buster attack, one-shotting every single Pokemon in its way. So what do you think of my Machamp VMAX deck? I think it's very, very powerful. The Mightyena in here makes the Psychic matchup not very tough. I don't think. You just put the Hustle Bark abilities down, and you can use this Mightyena to one-shot Psychic Pokemon VMAX like Mew, or like Dragapult, or anything else of that nature, even Shadow Rider, for example. Other than that, this list I think is the optimal way to play. If I were to change anything, I could see myself adding in another Gapejaw Bog for consistency reasons, but I really like the way it is because you have the Trekking Shoes and the Gutsy Pickaxe. You can draw through your deck super fast and get to your Gapejaw Bogs whenever you need them. Other than that, I really don't have any other ways to play this list. I think this list is super, super powerful and allows you to hit those perfect numbers thanks to Grant, thanks to Radiant Hawlucha, thanks to our good friend Choice Belt here. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel a lot. Don't forget to subscribe. I am posting new deck tags super often, so you can play the best decks in the format, the funnest decks in the format, and just take a look at some new ways to play the Pokemon trading card game. Other than that, I greatly appreciate you watching the video, so leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of this deck? What do you think of this video? What would you change? And how do you like to play Machamp VMAX? Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Hitmonchanning out.